Okay, so we just put on 2 lights, so now we're going to go with a dark. And like I said, strip up, and what you just sewed goes in first. So you can always figure out which way you've got to go, and it's just a certain method, and you always sew that way. A lot of times, I remember taking classes, and even when I've taught in the past, people will get mixed up in the direction to go with their log cabin. And it's always going to be the last one you sewed goes in first. What you're sewing it to is on the bottom. And that will help you to kind of keep it always where it's straight. Okay, so let's see. I need one more dark. And you also remember it's 2 light, 2 dark, 2 light, 2 dark. However many times you've got to go out to the outside edge. The last strip that you sew will always be dark. And it will be like if you're needing to finish your block, say we're doing the 12-inch blocks, so the unfinished size is going to be 12.5, so your last strip will be the 12.5-inch one because it's going the entire length of the block. Okay, so that's got 2. That says time for another light. When I'm out here sewing, I usually have music playing, and I didn't know how that was going to work with the video, so I didn't do that. You always want to be comfortable at what you're doing, and try to have everything at an angle so that it doesn't cause stress on your body. And trying to do this here for the camera kind of put me in a little bit of an odd situation. I'm trying to keep my fingers out of the way for you too. But I'm going to try a couple of different camera setups. Maybe I can find one that really works. I've got a taller tripod. I think on the next one I'm going to try over my shoulder and see if that would work. And do another dark one here. Let's see, 2, 2. Nope, it's time for light. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Oh, time for light. I just did that one, so one more here. This is the last light one. Yep. I don't have them laid out in order. I didn't have room in my little board to have them laid out exactly like I do. This log cabin block is one of my favorite to do. And I keep scraps. And when I get down to a piece, just a small piece left, then I usually strip it. I've got a couple of different ones. My favorite size on the log cabin is 1 1/4-inch strips. So when they're sewn, they actually end up at 3/4 of an inch. So it makes a really nice full log cabin block. But I just like the look of that. So I've got a lot of them over there. And I sort all my scraps by the size that they're cut. And then I went back and I decided, how do you always use them when you're looking at patterns? And it's light, medium, and dark. Because the contrast is what works. When you're working with a scrap quilt, it's all done off of contrast. It's not so much the actual color. You can kind of stay in a color family, like I'm doing Civil War right now. But whenever you're doing the strips, and you're just doing a scrap quilt, it's the contrast that makes it work. Because you can throw pretty much anything in there, as long as, if it's got to have a pattern to show up, there's got to be some contrast in order to see it. So I sort my scraps within their cut sizes, light, medium, and dark. And then I also have some squares already cut if I want to do 4 patches or whatever. And if I've had some half square triangles, because I'll show you later on another one how I save those. And I make pinwheels and some other blocks out of them. Borders, sashings. I do stuff with them. So I keep them. It looks like that's one tug there. And one last piece, and then we're done with this. Like I said, I'm just finger pressing. I'll give it a good press when I go over to the iron here before I show you the final ta-da. And here is the last one. Get that on here. I have my needle set for needle down also, so every time I stop, my needle is staying down in my fabric. Okay, let me go press this and then I'll show it to you. Okay, there's the last block that I made. I'm trying to get enough light on it so you can actually see it. Doesn't look like it's showing up too good on my camera here. But anyway, there's the last one that we made. And maybe looking at it here on the camera screen, that one piece that's up above that red, even though I put it in the lights, it probably should have been either for like a medium or something, because it's really standing out and it's not reading as good as it should be. So that would be one to kind of like watch on your stuff. I wasn't sure about that. I thought it had enough contrast. You can always check on cameras to see how much contrast difference you have and if things are showing up good. But there's all the blocks that we made on this so far, and I'll go back and I'll make one more to put on the 4th one there. But that's your log cabin block. If you go and you measure them, they should measure 12.5 inches. When they're sewn into the quilt, they'll be 12 inches finished, but the unfinished size is 12.5.